Montague Island, 2009, and we start from the wharf.
I was thinking back to the year before when there was all those big storms and we got down to the wharf and went, thank God we're not going.
That's right. And now, this year, there were heaps of whales.
Fantastic, wasn't it? And we had a great trip across. And we must have seen more whales there than, well, I've ever seen off the coast of New South Wales. It's
perfect
fantastic.
Time of year to be going.
Yeah. All humpbacks, weren't they?
Yes, they
were. But they were great views. We got a bit distracted by a few albatross. We had yellow-nose, lots of yellow-nose. And they're the ones really that were the most common, but then we had the shy albatross. Young shy albatross, that got us all a bit excited for a while. And again, I've never seen a shy albatross quite as close. Beautiful
and we had
birds.
Yeah, a few converts on the boat as well.
We did. We had, because we went across with a bunch of other people, didn't we, coming for the day, and they got very excited when they knew they could see things, you know. And there was someone really smart and intelligent telling them from the national parks and wildlife.
From the national parks.
Quite, yeah. But you can see the difference there. The yellow nose is quite obviously yellow nose, and the shy is young. That gets a greener, paler bill in due course, and a slightly bigger bird.
Beautiful diagnostic features.
Yeah, and the yellow nose is what they call the mollymawks, the smaller albatrosses, and the shy is at the smaller end of the more true albatrosses, the bigger ones. And this is a seagull that came to us across, in case we lost anybody on the way. And we're coming up to the seal area. This is on the North Island, wasn't it?
North Island, Australian fur seals and New Zealand.
And a few New Zealand, that's right, yeah. I couldn't work out the difference in the end, but guys, it was great watching them. And they do nothing. They just lie there and wave. They're flipping.
Which we took to. I think we
yes, we tried to emulate them as much as possible, didn't we? We did wave as well. They waved their flippers not to welcome us, but to cool down, which was funny because it was a beautiful day, but it wasn't that warm. But in fact, the weather was spectacular the whole time, wasn't it? The lighthouse, I forget how long that's been there, but certainly mid to late 1800s. And when we arrived,
easy access onto the island.
That's good, yeah. And we were greeted by terns, weren't we? Mostly white-fronted, I think.
That's right.
It was mostly white-fronted, yeah. That's and then we walked up, and I immediately became suspicious as to the authenticity of the experience when you see Ralph for a home for a little blue penguin. But it was a good laugh, really, wasn't it?
One of the caretakers had built him a little house.
Annette and Mark, great. We have to say that the accommodation was fantastic, but Annette and Mark, you couldn't have asked for a nicer couple to look after us, keep us amused, take us around. They were just fantastic. Made the experience, didn't it? Along with the company we had.
It did. And it was a very comfortable place to stay.
Oh, fantastic. And the views all round, and everyone mucked in, and we thought, oh, we have to do some work. But really, it was great fun. And we got talking about the birds and the animals there. I think they were talking about the strange mouse that was on the island. But there were lots of great things there. And the views back, just fantastic.
Up the tower?
Yeah, this is up at the tower, the lighthouse, if you please. Yes, I have to say this was a highlight of the trip. I have to say that because it was a terribly bad joke. And that's the North Island. That island is, in fact, we can't go there because that's coveted for the Aboriginal people. But we could tromp everywhere else, and we did. We did. We look. Now there's a good-looking guy, isn't it? I bet he knows his birds. And Annette telling us what it's all about. Now, interestingly, about the lighthouse, at the bottom of the lighthouse is where we lived, and they had a national parks person there for a week. They do it in roster, and he looks after the area, all the facilities there. And there are always little birds around. This kestrel would constantly fly around, catching lots of lizards in the area, and we'd go off on walks. And I love this bit. This is all the grass towards the south, and there was always noise there, even though you couldn't always see things, but it was full of cisticolas and little grass birds, remember?
Just
popping up, hello, pop down again. It's beautiful. And then down towards the rocks we found the brown falcon. Remember?
Brown falcon on the rocks.
It was beautiful, beautiful. And it got very different at night, but at that time I think, that's the meadow pipit. There was two meadow pipit English person, Australian pipit. And this is Robert. You can tell straight away he has that sort of regalness that Roberts have. Noel is feeding, and this is a gull that hatched this summer but had one duff wing, and rather than flying around in circles, decided to bludge off the national parks, and it's going to have a good life there, I think. And then that...
This is the first night waiting for the penguins. And although the penguins didn't show...
Singly unsuccessful.
It was. But the bird life, as we were sitting there watching the sunset, which was glorious, but the gannets and the albatross, lots of yellow-nosed albatross flying past. It was really a wonderful thing to do.
And not just the birds, I mean just the mood.
They have a platform built there that is just like every other hide. It's in the wrong spot. So the next night when we went to the hard rocks, we had much more success. This is next morning.
Oh, it's a tough life, isn't it? You know, really,
fantastic view off to the eastern side of the island. That's the western side, the mainland, which is nice to know is there, but a long way away.
And the good news is you never get a lot of people on there, do you? It's
No,
enough
it
to
was
be
just
nice company,
us.
but you sort of felt it was really your own experience in that sense. And we potted. Now, silver gull, we're not sure whether it was the peregrine that took it, the brown falcon or the seagull. So there's a lot of debate there. And you can do some meditation if you want there, which is really good.
We were meditating on crescent honey eaters. Trying to get a good view and a record for the island. And that was penguin spotting.
Yes, the second night down we went for penguins. That was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, we looked like fur seals there, I'm sure. We've got the hang of the island by now. Vegetable garden.
This is where they originally planted their veggie garden, had their well water. So, and the sort of strait between the island and the mainland was where a lot of the whales came. So, you know, people didn't sit around much because there's always something to do and walk around and see and be told. It was fantastic. You know, lots of lizards on the rocks, lots of exploring.
Lots of lichens on these fantastic rocks.
Yeah, it was a really wonderful
to the north end of the main island, that area there, just extraordinary.
Yes, the aspect of where the sun got me was great. And this is the sky. You'll see it's very similar to skies in other parts of the world.
But broader and bluer for
broader
some
and
reason.
bluer, that's it. Someone snuck up to the very edge of the South Island to get a view back to the North Island to get a view of the South Island.
And this is sunset heading into, maybe.
1881. There you are now. We knew it was in the 80s. This was the second night for penguins, and it was there were no platforms. It was cold stones on your bum, but it was a beautiful night, and we got eventually some penguins coming up. But what was most amazing in that grass around the settlement was all the noise. Remember walking back?
All the noises, that's right. Well, I even managed to see, because I came back with Noel, penguins mating. And they
forming
were
a relationship, dear. Forming a relationship.
Sleek and fat, call it what you will.
I
was the one who saw and heard it.
So a lot of fun was had by all on the island, we can say.
Back at the house again, another morning. Audrey and Keith making breakfast, or eating breakfast.
The longest mutton bird research in the Southern Hemisphere, I think, in probably the world, actually.
Waiting for the boat. There were
and
whales
it was fantastic, wasn't it?
Goodness gracious.
I don't know how many came through, but probably a dozen came through, and just beautiful views. It was we were feeling a bit, I suppose, upset that we were leaving, really, but excited to looking forward to the males. And on the way across, we got some fantastic views. Not as many albatross on the way back, was there?
No, there wasn't. The wind was up a little bit more.
Different direction.
But we had plenty of whales breaching and tail slapping, leaving the island. Very sad.
Yeah, it was.
Fabulous weekend.
Yeah, it was. Really,
Fabulous
really good. Yeah. And just wonderful company. Great guides. Annette and Mark did a great job for us, and everyone.
Everyone with a different attitude in this shot. There's Captain.
Captain
Keith.
Who's rowing the boat, you know. And then we got back to Narooma, and it was still beautiful, and we saw a lot of great birds from there.